Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Scott Jennings and Mike Lawler both tag team to deliver the absolute smackdown that the clueless news network desperately deserves. Let's dive in.
The debate is whether he should have stepped out of the race earlier.
Well, of course he should have. I mean, he should have never run for re-election. Mike is exactly right. When he got asked about regrets, the fact that he didn't say, I regret that 13 American service members lost their lives in Afghanistan, to me, that he can't muster the courage to say that now is a disgrace. Beyond that, he's leaving office in disgrace. I mean, you got less than 20% of the American people now that think the country's on the right track. That's a lower number than it even was on Election Day. And what's happened since Election Day? He pardoned his son, Hunter. He commuted the sentences of a bunch of evil killer thugs on federal death row. Not all of them, just the ones that he wanted to. Didn't even make a principled stand on that. And then he went on vacation, which is where he is right now. This is a failed, disgraced president. And he has never, ever owned up to what happened in Afghanistan and the role that that played in destroying those families' lives and destroying his own presidency.
So I think Donald Trump needs to say, I'm sorry that 1 million people died in COVID while I was telling people to shine light in their bodies and take disinfectant.
That's false.
No, that's exactly what he said. He said you should shine light in your own body.
Again,
right?
I'll go through this with you guys.
And take disinfectant.
All right,
right?
we can fact check
He
it
needs
now.
to- he needs to say he's sorry for that.
He speculated about the effect of light on the virus and disinfectant.
Right. While the doctor stood
Publicly,
behind him.
and-
Like, oh my
and you know
God,
what?
I don't believe he's saying that.
Speculated
And you know
about
what? People
whether-
told us to stand 6 feet apart and wear masks, and that didn't exactly solve anything. So, look, at the end of the day here, Joe, you can make this all about Donald Trump. Donald Trump got reelected because Joe Biden was such a disaster on so many fronts. But the fact is, as Scott pointed out, and we had Antony Blinken testify before us finally about the disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan just 2 weeks ago. And I showed him the report, the 300-plus page report, and I said, sir, this is your legacy. This is your legacy. You own it. You own everything that has resulted from that disastrous withdrawal, starting with the 13 U.S. service members who died. And the fact is, Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, still has not met with those Gold Star families. That is the legacy of this administration and everything that followed from the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the terrorist attack on Israel, the threats in the Indo-Pacific from China, the illicit oil trade to the tune of $200 billion between China and Iran that funds Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. That is their legacy, and Joe Biden owns that, and Scott's right. That should be his biggest regret.
Mike Lawler, attaboy. That should be the biggest regret. Or, you know what? I take that back. It should be the second biggest regret of the Biden administration. The second biggest regret should be how poorly they bungled the Afghanistan withdrawal. Because the domino effect of that withdrawal was essentially China is now saber-rattling over whether it's going to invade Taiwan or not. So far, I've actually been wrong in that projection. I thought that they were going to invade about 4 months ago, back in August. I thought that's when they were going to invade. They didn't. I got that one wrong. But it also, more importantly, led to the fiasco that is the Ukraine war, that is costing the American taxpayers billions upon billions of dollars to funnel money to a country that has so far been the most corrupt in all of Europe, with the one exception of the nation of Russia. Not to mention Ukraine also being the nation that a whole bunch of politicians have sent their kids over to become executive advisors over on a whole bunch of new oil boards. Yeah, funny, there's a certain person at the top of that list. Oh yeah, it's Hunter Biden. Funny how all that works. Yeah, the Afghanistan withdrawal should be the second biggest regret. The first and foremost, has been the fiasco at the border. And look, I'm even going to give them a small benefit of the doubt. The whole reason that they're allowing illegal immigration is not because they want to ruin America. They legitimately think that the idea of protecting Social Security, Medicare, and filling in the population bubble that is effectively burst. Okay, we do have a population problem incoming, so boomers, if you're listening, you might want to take this wisely and start really saving your money for retirement if you haven't already. Because Social Security, yeah, there's a longer conversation we need to have about that problem. But the theory goes that if you fill in more people to fix the population sort of crash. It's not going to be a crash here, but there is going to be a crash in Korea, Japan, Russia. China's going through a major population problem. And the reason Europe keeps on importing North Africa is for the same reasons. The birth rates have sort of collapsed. They were expecting the baby boomers to have more babies, ironically. Didn't happen. So they think that the importing people is going to fix that problem when it's not going to. Nothing's going to fix that problem because when you import people who don't share a lot of your same values, a lot of your same social ideas, or even have a background in understanding good, competent Western-style government, you're going to create problems for yourself. And it's also, ironically enough, created huge problems for the Democrat Party because now all these Latinos that have crossed the border, with the exception of the Venezuelan gang members who have come over, they're coming over and realizing, wait a minute. I can own my own business. I can own property. I can live the American dream. And there's a party that's saying that I need to be a victim? Screw that noise. I'm voting for the Republicans who say that I can keep and protect my own businesses. That's why Latinos have been going for Donald Trump and the Republican Party. And I've gone on in detail about that in other areas. But Scott Jennings here, bless your heart, you have to deal with Solomon Jones. Ugh. Listen, the only reason Solomon Jones can ever be relevant is if he talks about Donald Trump or if he race grifts. And he can't talk about race here, but he can certainly talk about Trump because despite the fact that Biden has been in office now for 4 years, he still decided to make the issue about Trump's shortcomings. And if I was Donald Trump and I was ever asked the question, what was your greatest regret of the first administration? If I'm Trump, I'm answering in classic Trump fashion that pushes a narrative and pushes rhetoric while also bringing people to the negotiating table. And my answer would be, well, I'm sorry that I wasn't tougher on Europe. They should have been tougher on NATO. I tried to warn them. I tried to warn them about Russia. I wish I was tougher. We could have avoided the whole thing. Okay, Ukraine, we could have avoided it. That's how you answer that question. And Joe Biden has instead just continued to tarnish his own legacy, not to mention just pardoning his son for, checks notes here. Unknown crimes since 2014. It was literally a blank check pardon. Something that might not even be legal. Okay? It's hard to pardon someone when they haven't committed a crime. And when you're pardoning someone for going outside of their boundaries and something that hasn't been caught by investigators yet, something smells fishy. I wonder if it's all the things that I've talked about on this channel before. Who knew? Oh yeah, we did. And we told you. Because I like saying things that I think are correct. So far, I love to admit when I'm wrong because it means that I get to correct not only the record, but I'm also going to be more likely to be right in the future because I'm learning from mistakes. Joe Biden can't admit his mistakes because that is the mantra of the Democrat Party recently. Deflect and deny. And Solomon Jones here is deflecting and denying any of Joe Biden's legitimate problems because if he does, his viewership disappears. They say, nope, you've been compromised, we're going away. They need to hear the fact that he's lying about Donald Trump's record because he's talking about the very, unspecified virus of unknown origin that affected every country on the planet. I'm pretty sure it infected some penguins at some point, okay? It affected everyone and everything. And so to put that at the feet of Donald Trump, no normal person thinks about that. But instead, Scott Jennings sticks to his guns and doesn't hold back and doesn't back down. And then Mike Lawler is out there to take the ball and absolutely dunk it after the beautiful assist that was set up by Scott Jennings here. Mike Lawler, I really need to do more research on this guy. I know there's a lot of conservatives that really like him. This dude knows how to handle media. He's even out there just taking a sip from his coffee cup after saying something based and then just setting it down like, I said something right and y'all have to deal with it. It's the ultimate Kermit the Frog sipping tea meme moment here, and Mike Lawler does that brilliantly. So yeah, this is a perfect tag team duo, and it says, and I'll end with this, it says what I've been predicting for a while now, that CNN is observing for a while now. CNN and other mainstream media outlets are finally realizing they've got to let Republicans sit at the table. They've got to let Republicans speak on the issues, or else they're going to lose more and more credibility and validity. Now, this is going to hurt their own viewership for a little while, but this is their attempt to get back into the mainstream and get back in control of the narrative by letting Republicans speak their piece. This is a huge win in the messaging and media wars that we've been fighting for decades. Ever since Fox News basically won the cable news wars back in the early 90s, and back when talk radio used to be king. We have slowly lost ground on the conservative side, and now we're winning it again with the new podcast presidency and the podcast format and the YouTube format, for instance, like this channel here at Politibrawl. And CNN realizes that they're going to be irrelevant if they don't allow Republicans a seat to speak at the table. And this is glorious for the news, for a good competent media, but it's not enough. We need to keep pushing this envelope. So folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hey, in the comments below, tell us how you would continue to push the narrative forward, continue to push the media to get back to telling the truth to the American people. Let us know below, and until next time, y'all have a good one.